share with you what they learned in the process, but I think for the company as well, they've really identified some opportunities for the export market, and I hope that they pursue it, and that might lead to increased jobs in the area. And that's what I think the overall opportunities are here, is these collaborative efforts strengthen our businesses, and as a community support each other. And I'm going to hand it off to the students at this time.
We were given the charge of taking a 15-page paper that Paul A. started and reading over the information that they had given and taking that and actually bringing it to an export plan. They had kind of identified some preliminary markets, some preliminary ideas, and it was our job as a team to basically act as a consultant for this company. So we went and interviewed Mr. Schuster as a group and found out what their objectives were as a company. And then from there, we basically had to take the process of identifying what niche markets would fit their products. Our team identified 4 different markets, international markets for them, and through a tremendous amount of statistical research and data, international phone calls, Skyping the UAE, spending a lot of time on the phone with Germany and Italy, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates. We identified 4 definitive markets for their products. They wanted to find specific niches in specific areas, and their product is a customized product. So we had to really read and go in depth into what they were trying to accomplish, but expand on that. We couldn't just listen to what they wanted. We had to really develop what was maybe necessary. And so in our research, we determined that the market in the United States, the domestic market, was shrinking. And because the domestic market is shrinking and they're primarily a domestic vendor at this point, they don't export this particular product overseas, we made a very strong case for why it was very important for them to export. The market that they're in is an expanding and a growing market. They certainly are not a first mover in this particular industry, but there's certainly a tremendous amount of room for growth for this particular company in this particular niche area. One of the things that the project really taught me, I was in charge of contacting the UAE and dealing with trade shows, is that 9 o'clock over there is midnight here. So hitting in a lot of hours at midnight talking to people in the UAE was a tremendous, exciting experience. But I also learned a very quick lesson that the way we do business here is not the way that other people do business in other nations. And it was a very quick lesson in dealing with the UAE, but also a very needed and notable lesson. And that was that we cannot take our Americanized ways and just transport them into other nations when we're dealing with export plans and with other companies. So that was some information that we passed on to Laura Lehman, how to gain market entry in these particular countries and how to get their product and their name and their brand out without having to go the route that we went. We gave them some very viable information with reference to trade shows and contact information both stateside and internationally, and they'll be able to take that information and use it to go forward.
Well, I don't know what more to say after what Christine said. Seriously, we were charged with, as she stated, creating the export plan. It was very challenging because we had a short amount of time to complete this process, which normally takes some organizations several years to complete, or sometimes several months. One of the best things I can say we pulled from this project is the fact that we were able to collaborate as a team and work in a team environment, and to be a graduating senior and to be able to have the opportunity to work on a live project for a company that could possibly utilize this in the future, as Mr. King stated, to either increase, to provide jobs here, locally, and also export this product abroad. It was a phenomenal opportunity for us, so we definitely jumped on it when we heard the opportunity. The communication aspect of the project was one of the greatest things I can say we developed from it. Like I said, 8 weeks to complete, a task of in-depth research. And when we heard about the project, entering into this market was something that I think none of us had any idea. We had little knowledge of export. Some of us had a very diverse background in relation to the different markets that we work in, as well as in our personal lives. So it was a complete learning curve, a learning experience from us from day one. And I think one of the most difficult tasks was educating ourselves on understanding how to create a solid export plan, and also understanding exactly what our client, being Miller Lehman, wanted in his export plan, and far as Christine stated, making the contacts abroad. This wasn't a project that we could just, as I like to say, do a search engine paper, or we could just Google it and get the information off the internet and then say, here, this is the Educ plan. But we had to make those contacts. We had to send those emails out. And as she stated, there was a lot of late nights. We collaborated in a non-business environment. Speaking, we would contact each other 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, are you still up? Sorry to contact you so late. You know, but the reason being, these countries that we sought out to provide as the export one, these countries' time is 9-hour time difference, 6-hour time differences. So we're staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning because 1 o'clock in the morning our time is their normal business hours. So we're staying up to make sure that we can make those contacts and make sure that the contacts are effective. She stated sending out emails we found out wasn't the most strategic way to do business, because sometimes you can send an email, it may take days, it may take weeks, and we found out through our research that email just wasn't effective. There's no response, so we had to make those phone calls. So we set up Skype accounts to make those contacts or international phone calls made, be it from our phone or from different avenues. But we wanted to make sure that when we presented this export plan both to our professor and to that of Mel Lehman, that it was definitely going to be a sound and strategic plan that they definitely can utilize in the future.
Thank you, folks.
Any questions?
Yes, questions? I believe we have
Mr. Schuster.
Did you all encounter any language barriers, especially dealing with the UAE?
Actually, no. One of the first questions that we ask when we Skype is, do you speak English? And the majority of the answers were yes, we speak English. The interesting part about dealing with the UAE was that once you established that you wanted to do business with them, and once you established that, we basically had to take it from a perspective of, we have a client who's interested in bringing their product to you. What is the best method for you to receive that information? And sometimes they would request a PDF that Mr. Schuster had given us the ability to share. Other times it was through the trade show avenues, and that was really where we got a tremendous response, because trade shows obviously want you to come, but they also want your money. So they were very willing to send forth the exhibitor list, and that was sort of my line was, we have a client who's interested in your trade show. We need to see an exhibitor's list to see if it's a good fit. If it's a good fit, we'll forward the information. How can we get a hold of you? And it was amazing. I got 8 PDFs from the lady in the UAE in about 10 minutes. So I mean, it was once you let them know that you have an interest, it was much harder to approach it from, hi, I'm a student, I need information. I mean, you just couldn't go there. You had to kind of formulate a little bit. I had one lady actually ask me from Enterprise, Florida, who do you consult for? Well, about that. I'm a student, I had to kind of break that down for her. But, we found some great opportunities. Enterprise, Florida, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, they were one of our key contacts for them. And they, actually give grants for businesses here in Florida who manufacture their own products. And they would be willing to give them a grant to go to 2 incredible international trade shows and pay for half of it. So there's a lot of opportunity with reference to exporting here in Florida that we were made aware of that I was not ever currently aware of prior to this project. Mr. Schuster, welcome.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank the students and thank the professor here for doing a great job. I'm really excited to see the plan. I found these students to be very conscientious, and we, just to give you just a brief background here, we're, as you may know, right down in Orange Avenue here in the old bakery building, 800 Orange Avenue, and we've been very successful here the last few years in opening up the marine industry for our products, but we really haven't done anything internationally. That when someone here approached me about doing this project, we thought that this would be a perfect project to kind of focus for the students, and really excited to see what the results are and continue to grow our market in the various international areas where there's a good market potential for the product. So thank you very much.
Will we be interested in it once you start signing up some of these export deals, come back and tell us?
Absolutely, we'll do that.
All right. Any other questions, anyone? This is really exciting. Thank you very much.
Amberetta.
Again, please introduce yourselves, please. You're on TV.
Good morning. My name is Daniela Kiotis, and I'm Assistant Professor of Management at Educ University College of Business. We've been tasked to conduct expert business plan for Deltron company based in Daytona Beach, Florida. Our semester is traditional semester, and we have 40 students in my class. It's international business class. We start semester end of August till beginning of December. So 40 students is quite a large class. In order to accomplish task, I decided to divide the large class size into 10 groups, about 4 students per group. So we have 10 business experts lands, and my students will describe now how they approach a program, how they approach the project, and how they conduct secondary research.
Hey, my name is Diane. I'm staff at Embry-Riddle. Well, one of the benefits of working at Embry-Riddle is you get to go to school for free. So I do, and I'm pursuing my aviation business administration degree.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Crow. I'm a senior student at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I'm a little odd in this class, however, I am an engineering major, civil engineering specifically.
So as Dr. Curtis stated, we were a group of 40, and we chose our partners. Usually your first day of class, and obviously I'm a lot older than everyone else. When I walk into class the first day, they all think I'm the professor. I set them straight, and I always sit in front of the classroom. And a couple of the students I already knew, so we formed a group of 4. Dr. Curtis was instrumental in explaining this project to us. From the very beginning of class, she outlined what we were going to do. I found it very exciting that rather than taking a company that was far outreaching, this was a local company. I felt that we would be helping a local company, and it just made it that much more interesting. Dr. Curtis set up for us exactly what was going to be expected of us. And one thing she also did was, while she was teaching the class, she incorporated things that we would learn in the class that would help us towards our marketing plan. And that was just really helpful for us, because I'm not an international business person. I just want to get my business degree. So I was it's a 300 class, so it's a higher class. And that was one thing she told us too. This is a 300 class. You're going to have to do 300 work. So she introduced us to the company, and I have to say that Teltron was more than willing to help us with everything we had to do. They came in and they spoke to the class. They invited us to their facility. We had a tour of their facility. Everyone on the business was very willing to show us everything about the company. I didn't even know the company existed. I mean, I'm from upstate New York. I've only been here 7 years, but I had no idea this company. This company already does export internationally, but they wanted to see where else they could. So once we had the discussion with the company, we came back, and first Dr. Curtis asked us to list countries that we might, we had to pick 5 countries and why. Then Dr. Curtis said, okay, she gave each one of the teams a country. And then we did our project plan on the country, our country. Olivia and I weren't in the same group. My country, we picked the United K. We didn't have to do long distance telephone communication. We did everything as a group. We Googled, we did searches, we met as a group late at night. I have to say that our marketing plan was probably this big. When Teltron has to get it, there's going to be a lot of information there. But it was a good learning experience, not only for learning about the company, but one of the things I think the students have to remember is you have to learn to work as a team. You're never going to be in a business just working for yourself. So this was an awesome project.
I completely agree with everything Diana said. It was a lot about teamwork. There were a lot of late night studies and communicating, and I was very fortunate in the team that I got paired with, 3 other individuals that were very bright and all business